right. Hey, everybody, it's Michael Music, and the conversation today is on to the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. And so I wanted to preface this episode with okay, so what's the goal, right? We're in 2023, and the idea is to become aware of okay, what areas am I able to improve upon or not hitting to the highest standard that I can hit? Because what's cool about this book, Think and Grow Rich, is it's really about evaluating yourself where you are at in this moment in time, right? Maybe you read this book a while ago and you understood that, okay, there was some areas that I was failing in, but you know, let me read this book again and analyze myself. Like, did I grow in that area? Did I, stay the same? Am I experiencing the same difficulties in my life, especially when it comes to leadership? And so that's what my goal is to uncover today. That's also another reason why I keep reading this book, Think and Grow Rich, because I'm not reading this book. Let me explain this. I'm reading this book so that I can identify where I'm at personally in my life. And every time I go through this book, I find myself, seeing new things, not so much in the book, but within me. And that's what I find really cool about this particular book. That's what drew me to it. And so that's why I keep wanting to share it with you guys. So without further ado, I'm gonna I'm gonna read what he says and then ask questions so that it hopefully makes sense in a different way rather than just reading the book. So he talks about the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. And he says that we come now to the major faults of leaders who fail because it is just as essential to know what not to do as it is to know what to do. Okay, so number 1 is the inability to organize details. All right, so he says efficient leadership calls for ability to organize and to master details. No genuine leader is ever too busy to do anything which may be required of him in his capacity as a leader. When a man, whether he is a leader or follower, admits that he is too busy to change his plans or to give attention to any emergency, he admits his inefficiency. All right. So are you passing up on the little things, right? We talked about going the extra mile. Are you passing up on putting in that extra effort to master and organize the little details in your leadership? He says the successful leader must be the master of all details connected with his position. That means, of course, that he must acquire the habit of relegating details to capable lieutenants. But you have the ability to, right? Let's say you are in a leadership position, and personally, you know, like I said, like, as I read this book, I'm not necessarily at the highest level of leadership that I could be at. So this may be worth, evaluating myself again. But if you are a leader, like, are you delegating tasks to other people so that you make sure that the details, the little things are organized and you understand them, right? So number 2 is unwillingness to render humble service. So are you willing when the occasion demands to perform any sort of labor which you would ask another to perform? He says, the greatest among ye shall be a servant of all, is a truth which all leaders observe and respect. So that was unwillingness to render humble service. Right. Let's say you do have followers, right? Are you willing to, reach out, lend them a hand when they do ask for help? And yes, I get like your time is valuable, but what are you valuing much so? Rather, are you valuing your time so that you have more free time and you can drift, or are you valuing the fact that you have the ability to actually help your followers? Number 3 is expectation of pay for what they know instead of what they do with that which they know. Right? So this is we're talking about the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. Are you expecting pay because you know a lot, right? Am I expecting to make a ton of money because, I know this book or I've read it before? Or am I expecting pay for what I do with the value that I can provide by, maybe sharing some thoughts and ideas from this book that actually benefit others, right? So the question is like, are you expecting to get paid just because you know a lot of things rather than because you do a lot of great service, you provide value, right? Like there's a difference there. And a lot of people, especially people that go through college and graduate, they think, okay, like I deserve, 70 grand because I got this degree and I know everything, or I deserve 100 grand, right? But it's not about what you know, it's about what you do with that which you know. He says, "The world does not pay men for that which they know, it pays them for what they do or induce others to do." So that's also interesting, right? Do you have the ability to induce others to operate at their highest level and provide the greatest service? Number 4 in major causes of failure in leadership is fear of competition from followers. So do you fear those who follow you? Are you worried that they may pass you if you really help them out, right? That is a major cause in the failure of leadership. He says the leader who fears that one of his followers may take his position is practically sure to realize that fear sooner or later. The able leader trains under the able leader trains understudies to whom he may delegate at will any of the details of his position. Only in this way may a leader multiply himself and prepare himself to be at many places and give attention to many things at one time. It is an eternal truth that men receive more pay for their ability to get others to perform than they could possibly earn by their own efforts. So I actually underlined that sentence. It's an eternal truth that you will receive more pay for your ability to get others to perform rather than you can possibly earn by your own efforts alone. Right? So are you developing the ability to truly lead people so that they can be, you know, operating at their highest level so that they can provide the valuable service that, they truly want to provide, right? Um, This is something I'm personally not yet doing as a leader, and it's showing in my pay, but this is something, like I said, as I go back through this book continuously, as I do start to build an organization, right? And have people that truly do follow me that I can look back and be like, okay, like now I got followers. Now um how am I helping them the most I can, right? Do I have this fear that they're going to pass me? He also says an efficient leader may, through his knowledge of his job and the magnetism of his personality, greatly increase the efficiency of others and induce them to render more service and better service than they can render without his aid. Okay, so if you are a truly great leader, right, do you have the ability through your magnetic personality to greatly increase the efficiency of others and induce them to render more service and better service than they could render without your aid, right? Because of you, because of the person that you are, the personality that you have, are you truly inspiring people to go above and beyond their own baseline level if you didn't enter their life? Number 5 in the 10 major causes of failure in leadership is lack of imagination. Okay, so he says, without imagination, the leader is incapable of meeting emergencies and of creating plans by which to guide his followers efficiently. All right, so what level is your imagination at? And when I say that, I mean it by, okay, we understand that the imagination, there really is no cap on how far you can imagine, right? I feel like everyone can agree with that. They may not fully understand the depth of that, but they can be like, okay, yeah, I can imagine whatever, right? There's no end to the imagination. Now, are you using your imagination in an efficient way, right? Are you using your imagination to think of, the possible bad things that can happen, or are you using your imagination to create definite plans to guide your followers efficiently. Okay, like how are you using your imagination? Everyone's got one. Everyone has this ability, but it's the true leaders that are using it in a way that is actually benefiting their followers. That is actually creating plans so that people have a vision of where they want to go, and they then have a plan to get there. Number 6 is selfishness. So this is still a part of the 10 major causes of failure in leadership. He says the leader who claims all the honor for the work of his followers is sure to be met by resentment. The great leader, the really great leader, claims none of the honors. He is contented to see the honors, when there are any, go to his followers, because he knows that most men will work harder for commendation and recognition than they will for money alone. So are you recognizing the people in your life that do look up to you, that follow you in one way or another? Maybe right now as you watch this, you aren't necessarily an influencer to the level that some people are, but even if you got one or two followers and they could be your friends, like are you recognizing them for following you? Or are you saying that, hey, it's me that did all this, right? This is all you have is because of me being here, right? We can understand that no, that is not the way to truly lead. It's through honoring people. And so like when I read this, I'm thinking, okay, like who really is following me, right? Do I understand who is following me? Am I aware of it? And am I recognizing them? Am I letting people know, like, hey, this person, like they've been listening to me and they truly benefited from it. And so, you know, still like the only old story that read when I read this is like, okay, who is really following me at this point when I am reading Think and Grow Rich, right, over and over again? It's like, is anyone truly listening to me, and am I giving them a chance to listen to me? Um, so yeah, that's a little bit of my personal stuff that I'm going through. But let me go through this still. Number 7, intemperance. Followers do not respect an intemperate leader. Moreover, intemperance in any of its various forms destroys the endurance and the vitality of those who indulge in it. Okay, so what's the definition of intemperance? Can I look it up? All right, so I can't look it up right now. I'm not 100% sure what the definition of intemperance is. I believe it means when you don't give people the time. And what I mean by that is, like, are you like, okay, you got to figure this out now or never, right? Or are you giving them the time to be like, to really step into their own greatness? That's what I think I'm getting from it, but I could be wrong on that. Number 8 is disloyalty. This is a big one. Perhaps this should have come at the head of the list. The leader who is not loyal to his trust and to his associates, those above him and those below him, cannot long maintain his leadership. Disloyalty marks one as being less than the dust of earth and brings down on one's head the contempt he deserves. Lack of loyalty is one of the major causes of failure in every walk of life. Okay, so this is pretty self-explanatory, but it's worth talking about. Like, are you going behind the people who you look up to's back? Like, do you have a mastermind group that you aren't giving them the energy that they deserve, right? This is me talking to me. Do you have, friends and family who were there for you since day one that you turned your back on because they maybe didn't fit a certain criteria for you, right? Or like, how loyal are you, and how important is this? Like, he says it himself, this should go at the top of the list, right? As one of the major causes of failure in leadership. But like, loyalty is everything. And like, how tight really is your inner circle, right? Are you just adding anyone that comes into your path to your circle, or are you really staying true to the people who were there for you even when you had nothing? So that's something I hear a lot, but I never really dove into the idea of being loyal to those who were there for you. Like me personally, I had a mentor who believed in me before anyone else did and gave me the chance to actually speak up on his calls. And it's like, okay, am I really reciprocating the good energy that he gave me, or am I turning my back towards him? Like, how loyal am I to this man who I truly believe is the one person that's actually going to help me achieve my dreams rather than the other people who want me to stay comfortable simply so that they don't get uncomfortable? But yeah, it's really important to talk about loyalty. I think that's super key and worth coming back to within another conversation. Number 9 is emphasis on of the authority of leadership. The efficient leader leads by encouraging and not by trying to instill fear in the hearts of his followers. The leader who tries to impress his followers with his authority comes within the category of leadership by force. If a leader is a real leader, he will have no need to advertise the fact except by his conduct, his sympathy, understanding, fairness, and a demonstration that he knows his job. Right? How often are you using your labels to try to gain authority over others? Right? Or are you becoming a leader simply because you emulate just a great person? Right? Are you Right, there's a difference here. Are you saying like, "Okay, I'm at this level in my company, therefore you should look to me," or are you asking people to look to you because of, the service and value you provide them, right? Like, what benefit is my title? We'll actually get to that in the next one, but am I truly trying to force people to look up to me and follow me, or am I doing what I all I can do to induce people to really like give me a chance and hear me out, right? Like what extra mile could I go in that sense, right? What's the difference here between leadership by force and leadership by example of being a great person? Okay, last but not least is number 10, which is emphasis of title. It kind of follows under the authority. He says the competent leader requires no title to give him the respect of his followers. The man who makes too much over his title generally has little else to emphasize. The doors to the office of the great leader are open to all who wish to enter, and his working quarters are free from formality or ostentation. Okay, so what we were talking about, am I emphasizing my title or am I emphasizing my ability to be a genuine human being and really connect with the people that do follow me and look up to me, right? Like, who is my true followers? So, so what's the difference between title and authority? Well, going back to number 9, I believe, I believe he was trying to say the efficient leader, right? Like, are you trying to instill fear in others, like if you don't follow me you will never make it, or are you trying to instill faith and hope and courage and joy and love into your followers, right? How are you leading? And then going back to recently, number 10, like, are you emphasizing the fact that you are a person or a human that can connect with people that are following you? Or are you emphasizing your title that dictates, yes, you are at this level and therefore you should follow me? Okay. So he's finally, to wrap this up, he says, these are among the more common of the causes of failure in leadership. Any one of these faults is sufficient to induce failure. Study the list carefully if you aspire to leadership and make sure that you are free of these faults. All right, cool. So, just like personal thoughts on this chapter alone, an old story kept coming up on, okay, am I even a leader? Right? Yeah, I'm making these videos. I'm on my way to really create real wealth in my life, and not just in terms of money, but in all areas of my life, like health, wealth, love, and happiness. And as I go through this, it's 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 like, okay, I understand that I do need to step up as a leader who is actually following me, because at this point in time, right, it's January 2nd, 2023. I i don't really see I guess in the real world, whether people are following me or not, I know behind the scenes people may be, and I may not even realize it, but it did strike a chord with me, and I think it's almost like, as I read through this, I wasn't ready for this conversation yet. Like, who am I to teach about leadership when I really ain't much of a leader myself? And I don't mean to go on this rant, but it's just that was the old story that came up. So, um, the idea here is to at least become aware of it. Like, what of these key points in this moment in time can I really help people out, rather than expect to be like, the top leader the first time I read through this. So those were some of my thoughts as I went through this. Um, I think it'll be definitely worth also, or a more relevant conversation tomorrow as we go through and begin the journey of the 30 major causes of failure. Probably going to break it up into two parts because 30. I want to really dive deep into each of them, and really ask some good hard hitting questions on them. So that'll be the conversation tomorrow. But the whole idea of this, like, yes, how does this come into play with the philosophy? Well, really, it's just necessary to add, right? He made this chapter so big, and we already finished up the planning part of the chapter, right? The important nuggets that you needed to know about organized planning. But now we're diving into just some key elements that maybe didn't deserve their whole chapter by themselves, but they are so critical to just become aware of and really evaluate who you are in this moment as you go through these videos, as you go through this book. So so that's pretty critical too. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up here. I wanted to thank you all for watching. We just started off the new year. It is Monday, I think it's January 2nd of 2023, and I'm really excited to go through this year. My goal is to, better understand this book, really make something happen, not just in terms of understanding it, but applying and truly becoming rich. And yeah, that's the conversation today. So, like I said, thank you all for watching. And until we meet again in time and space, bye everybody for now. Peace out.